Hello and welcome to Philip's Thoughts. This past week, the heads of Twitter and Facebook were called into Congress to basically do a dog and pony show. But really, what it's about is the Section 230 in the U.S. Code related to internet service providers or platform providers, and different rules and regulations they have to follow. And are they doing any overreach on that? Is really what it was boiling down to. Now, there's been a lot of talk about this Section 230, and I don't think most people have a clue really what's in there. So I thought we'd kind of just run through it here. It's not a huge document by any stretch of the imagination. This section's relatively small. So let's take a look at this thing. First off, it goes through the findings, and this is just talking about how awesome the internet is and how it's being used for all kinds of wonderful things, and giving people access to information, and how it's causing the internet to flourish, and life is wonderful. Okay, findings don't matter. We all know what the internet does. Down here in the policy section, you know, to promote the continued development of the internet and other interactive computer services. Um, I don't really know why the government's got to get into continuing to develop the internet. It was doing quite fine without the government getting involved, but that's a talk for another day, really. Um, so looking to preserve the vibrant, competitive, free market that presently existed back when they wrote this. Unfettered by federal or state regulation. Well, that's fine. It's unfettered by them, but private companies are fettering it. So, anyways, gets down there. Now we're going to go into here's really the meat of it. Get into the protection for Good Samaritan blocking and screening of offensive material. Basically what's saying here is no provider or user of interactive computer service shall be treated as the publisher or speaker of any information provided by another information content provider. So what that's saying is that, like Twitter or YouTube, they cannot be, considered to be the publisher of, like whatever I happen to put out, or any other content provider, somebody creating content and putting it on that platform. Okay? Now you come down here, it says no provider or user of the interactive computer system shall be held liable on account of says any action voluntarily taken in good faith to restrict access to or availability of material that the provider or users consider to be obscene, lewd, lascivious, filthy, excessively violent, harassing, or otherwise objectionable. And that there is the vaguest thing on the face of the earth right now. I mean, that is just otherwise objectionable. Otherwise objectionable by who? I mean, that's ridiculous. Whether or not such material is constitutionally protected. I mean, you have your right to free speech, and this is basically saying, hey, if we find it objectionable, we can pull it. I mean, it's like, what the heck, And it says, any action taken to enable or make available the information content providers or other the technical means to restrict access to material described in paragraph. So, basically, any action they take, it's like, hey, don't worry about it. You're not in trouble. And of course, when they're in front of Congress, like, oh, you can't get rid of this. You get rid of this, and this is just going to ruin the internet. And I don't think it needs to be gotten rid of. Because if there is something that is really obscene out there or lewd, you're not running a porno site, kind of thing, and you don't want that stuff on your platform, that's fine. Filthy, excessively violent, again, you're kind of getting vague there. What's excessive? I like to see something more detailed, especially when you're giving somebody, freedoms over something that is essentially in everybody's household. Everybody's using it. It has a large impact on society in general. Harassing. I have issues with this. I think it should be like personal harassing because, hey, I hate cauliflower, and I may, say, I hate cauliflower. I hate cauliflower. Um, and there's some cauliflower lovers out there that might think, hey, he's harassing me by hating cauliflower. No, but I mean, if it's, you know, Mary harassing Bob or something, something, personal harassment, I think yes, that should be, limited. Don't think people should be doing that. Um, but the otherwise objectionable, that I think needs to go or needs to be totally rewritten, or something more specific. I think that's the issue there. I don't think that the whole law needs to go, but I do think the vagueness needs to be taken out. We need specifics, and I think it just needs to mature. And yeah, I don't know why that's such a big deal. They always talk about like, oh, you're going to get rid of it. You're going to get, don't need to get rid of it. That's just going one step too far. But like I said, the whole thing in Washington there, I mean, really, it's a dog and pony show. It's everybody can get their, 2 minutes of, look, I really slammed these guys. I'm awesome. And then, Facebook and Twitter execs, they can go back and say, well, we answered all their questions, and, hey, we're within our rights. We can still do whatever we feel like. But this is why a lot of, more conservative leaning, content providers, are getting, banned off of things because, hey, they fall into the otherwise objectionable category, I guess. So this here is where the main bit of issues come from this. And, again, in my thoughts, it just needs to be rewritten. And then this just goes on through, some more legalese, talking about, the obligations and so forth. And, I really feel like, yeah, if YouTube is providing, YouTube as a platform, as a service, if there are any laws being broken, that should be resolved by law enforcement. I mean, if somebody's putting out, some, pedophilia type videos or something like that out there, yes, Facebook should, or not Facebook, well, Facebook, if it's on there, or YouTube or wherever, they should be removed, but it should be turned over to law enforcement then, that kind of thing. I think those are clear violations. But when you get into, things like, what happened with, the newspaper up in New York, where they posted the information about, Joe Biden's son and all that, and his laptop, and then Twitter decides, oh, you guys can't use our service anymore because, whatever, we deemed this. No, they should not be the guardians of the gateway kind of thing. I just think that falls into otherwise objectionable thing, and that is too subjective to pass the sniff test, in my opinion. So those are my thoughts on this law. Please, in the comments below, let me know what your thoughts are. Does it need to be rewritten? Does it need to be trashed, thrown away altogether? Would that then, take freedoms away from the internet, kind of thing? I mean, they're, on their side, they're like, oh, well, if we don't have this protection, then we're going to have to ban everything, practically is what they're saying, Because basically, by doing this, they're allowing, YouTube not to be held accountable for what I put out there, by them going in and regulating me, whatever. But it's like, no, they should. I just don't see it. I don't see why they should be doing that. I should be held accountable for whatever I do, not them, whether it's on their platform or not. I mean, that's kind of like if you were on, using like AWS, Amazon Web Services, and you create a website out there and you're doing something nefarious. Are you going to hold Amazon accountable for that, or are you going to hold the person that, did those things out there accountable? So, again, I think it, comes from being, hey, you want protections, but you want to be this gatekeeper, quote unquote. You're going to use the law to basically, twist things to your point of view, and I just don't like it. So, anyways, please, um, let me know your thoughts on this, and until next time, keep thinking, guys.